just done a movie called The Great Debaters that Denzel Washington directed, and he goes, there's no assurances in Hollywood. He's like, it's a tough road, but he goes, I feel like you have what it takes to do this thing. Denzel was the one who really inspired me to move out to Hollywood in the first place.
I'm going to start with a very serious question. Where does saying, I will f you up one day, to Josh Brolin rank in your career highlights?
That actually was a really cool moment. Yeah. Nobody's called that out. I mean, Josh is also one of the great actors, also one of the great hangs. He's just the best, dude. So, I mean, that was a particularly surreal, just the entire Running Man set piece, you know, that big stage, you know, they have hundreds of background in the audience and they're fired up, you know, Coleman's fueling them up, they're fueling Coleman up, you know. It just was an energized, fire effects and cheerleaders. It was just so fun. But yeah, I would say that was definitely a highlight. That's a fun, good line.
I'm not trying to get myself killed, so kiss my ass twice. Right there is why you can win this game.
Speaking of Josh, I loved your scenes with him, and especially the scene early on where he tells you, you have what it takes to win this game.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, in your career, who was someone who saw something in you and has kind of taken you under their wing?
Well, early on, you know, in my career is when I was kind of living in Austin. I just done a movie called The Great Debaters that Denzel Washington directed, and almost Denzel said almost exactly that line, you know, verbatim. He goes, there's no assurances in Hollywood. He's like, it's a tough road, but he goes, I feel like you have what it takes to do this thing. So yeah, that Denzel was the one who really inspired me to move out to Hollywood in the first place.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Coming from Denzel Washington as well.
I know. That's like, it feels a little different, you know, when it comes from, you know, Denzel.
And we spoke about him on Red Carpet last night. Edgar, he's such an incredible director. I'd love to know, what is the one thing you've taken away from working with him that you'll take with you moving forward?
Everything matters. Everything matters. I'm a guy that like cares, you know, like I really feel like when you're putting anything together, right, like the details matter. But watching Edgar, for instance, like even there's the opening sequence where I'm like walking to the network. He had an earpiece in my ear and a metronome going because he knew what the needle drop was gonna be. And he's like, a big pet peeve of his is when actors on screen are not walking to the beat of the song that you're seeing on screen. He wants those two things to match up. But that's just a level. He hired a choreographer to make sure I knew how to walk properly. That's detail.
That is detail.
You know, the thing that I'm realizing is how things enter frame, the lenses you're using, lighting effects, how it all kind of works in the, you know, I mean, a shot could be a split second and he will obsess over that frame for an afternoon. And that's the kind of detail. When you add up all of that work, it makes a great movie.
It's so interesting as well because, yeah, with your walk, everything's done with purpose.
Everything's purposeful.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
As someone who's had such a huge rise in your career over the last few years, what do you look for when taking on roles now? Because you must be inundated with just so many different types of offers. You
know what's funny is I look at it like a few different ways. I mean, obviously you always look at the filmmaking team. You know, Edgar Wright is a filmmaker I've wanted to work with forever. The story, you know, and you look at, you know, Stephen King is obviously one of the greatest writers of our time. I mean, he's so prolific. He's played in every genre, but I think this is one of his, you know, most famous, you know, stories, and a story that like really weirdly resembles the world we live in right now. But I think it's also it's never been able to be like truly adapted for the screen. You know, the Arnold movie didn't get to be as loyal to, you know, Stephen King's initial work. And then I think the other thing is for me is like the why now. And I always think about this. It's like, you know, there's a lot of different movies you can make, but like as an audience, you know, like why do you leave your house and go to the theater? You know, and how does it sort of resonate into the experience that we're all going through right now and how we're thinking? And I think the thing that got me excited, which is like really, I'm so proud of like the final product, which is like it's an action movie that makes you think. That got me excited. So yeah, that's sort of how I think about it, I guess.
It's always such a pleasure talking to you, man.
Good to see you again.
I'm so happy for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I hope everything just keeps on going the way it is. It's amazing.
Well, I'm having fun. I appreciate it.
That's all.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate.